Have you ever found yourself disagreeing with someone over whether or not something is too salty or not salty enough? Not like you're ready to come to blows, you just notice that they like more or less salt than you? Well, it turns out different people have different palates, which could be caused by adaptive factors, such as how much water they consume, or things which are innate, such as genetics. We taste things differently and will thereby have different ideas about what is ideal. Therefore, this entire show is utterly pointless, so let's do this shit. Whether it's a blessing or curse, I've known from a very young age that my palate doesn't crave the sweet stuff like most people. In fact, when I look at a cake, my first impulse is to scrape off most of the icing and just enjoy the cake. But there is one sugar rush whose power rules over me like a drug dealer calling me back for another hit of the junk, the donut. Golden, sugar-crusted on the outside, pillowy soft and chewy on the inside, and just the right size to be satisfied with one and absolutely ruinous when you inevitably have two or three. Donuts are, for me, one of the few perfect sweet treats. But you're not here to hear me talk about what makes something great, so let me tell you about how I got Krispy Kreme donuts and they fucking suck fucking balls. A donut is essentially a sweetened dough, similar to cake or pancake batter, that's been deep fried in hot oil. This deep frying causes the sugars in the dough to caramelize and the butter to toast and take on a complex, almost nutty flavor. Once pulled from the fryer and still hot, this is the moment where we can make what is easily the perfect donut. Because similar to how French fries need to be coated in salt when they're fresh from the hot oil, the perfect donut can be dusted with a bit of sugar or cinnamon sugar, and that's all you need, baby. But as I was reminded of recently, this is also the point where Krispy Kreme decides to ruin perfectly good donuts by bathing them in a mixture of sugar and water, making them overwhelmingly sweet, and in my opinion, vandalizing what is not just one of the world's most perfect desserts, but one of the few great American gastronomic innovations. Now, as we stated in the intro, your palate may vary from mine, but Krispy Kreme's sickeningly sweet confections are a 3 out of 10. In a much earlier video in this series, I raved about Love's and how much I enjoyed their donuts, kolaches, and breakfast sandwiches. What I didn't know, until very recently in fact, was that this style of restaurant is pretty common here. I've still got a few more of these to review, but my disappointment in Krispy Kreme led me to seek out a better donut. So I gave Sina's Donuts and Eatery a crack. So, will Sina steal my heart from Love's? Well, yes, and by a considerable margin. Let's start with the savory. I got a jalapeno boudin and a jalapeno ham and Swiss stuffed croissant. They both had good heat and seasoning, and the croissants were proper buttery. I also got some donuts, including the aforementioned perfect cinnamon sugar raised one, and it was miles ahead of Love's. The nice gentleman helping me even threw in a couple extra, clearly because he recognized my voice from this highly successful YouTube series. But this included a blueberry donut, which he said was the best one. It's unfortunate that the nice gentleman was clearly insane, because there is no world outside of hell where a blueberry donut is the best, though I will admit for such a phenomenally stupid donut, it was tasty. But I'm sorry, Loves, I really am. You have been thoroughly, soundly defeated. I'm talking Norman invasion of 1066 levels of utter decimation and conquest. Your descendants from generations yet to pass will never live down this level of shame, because Sina's Donuts and Eatery is significantly better by every measure imaginable. A solid 8 out of 10. We went to check out Zaza Salad and Pizza to split a salad and pizza. They were pretty busy, and after standing in line for 20 minutes waiting to order, we got to the front and were told if we wanted pizza, it would be around 40 minutes. We said that was fine and would share a salad while we wait, so we ordered a Cobb salad with a steakhouse blue cheese dressing and were told that they were out of the blue cheese dressing. Then we left. Fuck you. Okay, look, businesses are busy. They can be slow, they can run out of things, that's fine. But the time to let people know there is a really long wait for pizza when you are a pizza restaurant is before they wait in line for 20 minutes, not after. Put a sign up somewhere. Send somebody out to the front to let people know, you fucking assholes. How would you like it if I ordered food, made you make it, and then let you know I wouldn't be able to pay for it until my paycheck cleared the next day? What, no good? You don't like committing to something without the full understanding of the transaction?
Well, now you know how I feel.
In the building next door to Zaza is Osaka Japanese Hibachi Steakhouse, an alarmingly empty Asian restaurant where for just $12 you can, Anyway, Osaka specializes in making every Asian dish you could name off the top of your head. The fact that they make both sushi and ramen should have been a tip that they can't actually do either. Jack of all trades, master of none, if you know what I mean. I ordered a duck ramen and Mrs. Raiden went with the vegetable udon, which she immediately regretted once it arrived at the table. I tried mine, and although it didn't impress, it was several fathoms better than what the wife got. Typically, vegetable udon soup is made with a miso broth, but this was like watered down canned tomato soup. Genuinely disgusting. Now, I'm a full-blown autist when it comes to ramen. I know when the broth is legit and was made from scratch because I can taste the notes of garlic, ginger, scallion, which bring depth to a broth that is otherwise made simply from bones. This broth, I would be willing to bet money, was made from a powdered mix, which, if you're charging somebody $16, should be some form of illegal. Also, this was a duck ramen, which meant that they hacked up half of a duck leg, which had almost no meat on it, and threw it in. Now, me personally, I don't think it's a good idea for a business to throw pieces of something with bone in them into a soup that customers scoop straight into their mouth. And this isn't even considering that the meat from this part of the duck is always tough, minuscule, and thoroughly unpleasant. Again, $16 for duck, and I don't even get the good parts of it to eat. I genuinely could have gone to any Asian market and made something for less than half the price and half the time. And to top it all off, my ramen was still considerably better than what the wife had. I'm talking it was so bad it actually ruined her day. There are two kinds of bad restaurants. The kind that you forget, and when you do recall it, you calmly react that you don't ever want to go back there, and the kind that when you remember the experience, it genuinely makes you angry. That is where Osaka lands. 2 out of 10. Afrobites is an African food truck, originally started in Little Rock, but which just hosted its grand opening here in Conway. Now let's get this out of the way, because I doubt there is anyone less qualified to discuss the finer points of African cuisine than this asshole. In fact, my knowledge of it consists of, one time I made jollof rice, and I think it influenced Afro-Caribbean cuisine, which I also know fuck all about. So feel free to take what I'm about to say with a huge grain of salt. We went there and tried to sample as much as we could without being gluttons. So we got 2 lunch plates that were as follows. Mrs. Raiden got a piri-piri chicken plate with jollof rice, fried plantains, curried cabbage, and a mango lemonade. I got a chicken suya plate with coconut rice, fried plantains, black-eyed pea stew, and a ginger pineapple juice. So how was it? Well, everything on my plate was vastly inferior to Mrs. Raiden's. That's not to say it was bad, it was just funny how all of her choices were better than mine. The piri-piri chicken was alive with spices and a touch of heat, while my suya chicken tasted bland by comparison. Her jollof rice, again, tasted like a bouquet of vibrant rice, while my coconut rice tasted far more subtle. This was even true of the drinks, as a sip of my ginger lemonade transported me into another dimension that's made entirely of ginger. But the only thing we tried that I would say to stay away from is the black-eyed pea stew. It didn't have particularly good flavor, didn't taste of seasoning, and it was like some beans mixed in with a watery tomato soup. Overall, I can't wait to go back and try this place again. In fact, I'm kicking myself for using good judgment and not trying their beef pies. But if you go here for a plate, be sure to heed my warning and get the jollof rice. It absolutely sets everything else off for a banger of a meal. A solid 7 out of 10. Okay, first things first. Pho Huyen is a restaurant I've tried to get food from multiple times, thanks to their weird-ass hours, but I was finally able to procure it on attempt number 4. Second things second, here's what you need to know about what I know about Vietnamese food. Banh mi, pho, the end. Third things third. While I consider the banh mi to be one of, if not the greatest sandwich in the entire world, I do not like pho. For a while I thought it was because I don't like eating chewy, plasticky stomach lining, but Pho Huyen confirmed to me that no, I simply do not like pho. So again, take this entire review with a huge grain of salt. You might like pho. Hell, you might love it, but it simply isn't for me. I like a lot of different taste combinations. Sweet and salty, sweet and sour, sweet and spicy, salty and spicy. But one I really can't get behind is sour and spicy. That's pho, or at least that's pho plus the strange addition of spiced. As in, the broth is flavored with spices like cinnamon, cloves, and star anise. So now we've gone from sour and spicy to the bizarre dimension known as sour spicy Christmas. And on top of all that weirdness, you have the noodles, which are thin rice noodles, aka the worst noodles. And on top of that, I really didn't enjoy Pho Huyen's steak pho because I ordered the steak and they gave me chicken, which if you've never had unseasoned chicken from an Asian restaurant, it's basically like eating boiled toenails. But here's the thing, I've been ripping pho and Pho Huyen for 282 words and I would still go back there because the banh mi we got was really tasty. The roasted pork was flavorful and well cooked, and the bread, while not the best, was more than serviceable. though I will say be sure to get 2 because they have this as a starter and it's tiny. I'll also throw in a recommend behind the pork spring rolls. Despite the copious amounts of shit I just hurled at this place and pho in general, me not liking something doesn't necessarily mean it's bad. So give this place a crack because many people swear by pho and you might become one of them. A high 6 out of 10. Catch you in the next one and I'll see you when I see you.